The next example that we're going to take you through is our sustainable circular packaging. This is a true industry disruptor. We are trying to change the way that we make all paperboard, not only for ABI, but for the entire brewing industry. This industry disruptor lines up to our ESG priorities and our themes: inclusive, local, and nature. Our local and natural themes, Farida will take you through as we try to boost up local economies by using a waste product today, our barley straw, and bringing that into a natural-based solution for carton making. This disruptive innovation was brought through the elimination method. Benedict will take us through that, and Farida will then show how we execute it in the trade.
So the second part of the methodology and the second innovation pattern that I would like to share with you today was actually shown in the last Stella Innovation beer pack example that we've just seen. So the Stella Unfiltered, just like many other innovation examples, like for example the contact lens, the Dyson vacuum cleaner, or instant coffee, all of these examples could be explained in terms of their evolution based on the fact that a core component or an essential component from their world was eliminated from the predecessor to its next evolutionary level. So if we can explain many innovation examples based on that simple logic and that simple pattern, this is exactly one of the methodological approaches we took also in the ABInbev Packaging Innovation team in order to uncover new insights, new ideas and solutions. And the big example I want to share with you today is also one that of course my colleagues are going to explain in a lot more detail. However, if I can try and explain a little bit the approach we took back then, in my words, the logic was again the same as we've seen already in the previous example. Step number one, we try to deconstruct the existing beer world and the existing beer pack world. The next thing is we are then using one of those patterns that can explain successful innovation in retrospect. So by applying the principle of elimination to the world of the beer pack, it was actually an honor to help the ABInbev Packaging Innovation team to uncover a completely new insight. So the way I perceived this process was when the pack was confronted with a hypothetical or difficult situation of imagining a beer pack completely without the pack. So what we agreed to imagine at the end was something like a branded liquid still standing in the shelf ready to be purchased on the other end. And of course, that's not the great next idea, but this was the starting point in order to identify new benefits associated to the strange or hypothetical situation. And the amazing moment was when the ABInbev team actually realized that a branded liquid in the shelf, the benefit of such a strange situation would be that the entire solution would be only manufactured by ABInbev themselves. And this was the moment where a new thought, a new insight, and a new desire was triggered by this team. What they then tried to achieve is, how do we turn this into reality? How can we literally create a beer pack that is only done with our own resources, without any external suppliers? And this was also the moment that, of course, the participating experts then realized that maybe we could actually use a part that we are using in our beer making process that is now purely a waste material, namely the straw, that is usually burned directly on the field, could now be used as a resource for packaging, manufacturing, and development. I'm sure that you've already seen the final solution. However, my colleagues are going to tell you a lot more of how much effort it then took to turn such an idea and concept into reality. But it was an honor to share with you which approach the team took, which new way of thinking actually led them to uncover a completely new insight that probably couldn't have been uncovered simply by asking the market what it needed or what it wanted.
Hello, I'm Farida bin Sadoun from the Global Packaging Innovation team at ABInbev, and I'm here to talk to you about the full elimination process application to real-life packaging. So just as Benedict introduced now, is how we can actually make our packaging more circular, but not only eliminating part of the raw material, but by substituting with something which is more circular, more sustainable, and that can make also our packaging as performant as it is today. One of the examples that we have is the barley packaging that we have launched last year, which kind of reinvents the way that we do carton and paper packaging. What we are trying to do there is to use one of the byproducts from the harvesting of barley in order to use it in the packaging that you see here in front. What we mean by byproducts is once you do the harvesting of the barley grain, you have the seed that will go into the recipe of your beer, but you also have the leftover straw that either stays on the field to be burned off or used as animal bedding or as soil fertilizer, which is quite low value for the farmer. What we're doing is we are taking that straw and we're pulping it in order to use it in our paper stream. So what happens now is actually we're moving away from the current, let's say, biomass that we use for carton, which is virgin wood, so trees that we have to cut to make the pulp, or the recycled fibers that is basically old carton boxes that we try to reuse multiple times. However, that lifetime is quite limited in terms of use because the property will degrade. So here we're introducing a third way of using basically biomass to enhance still the performance, which is alternative fiber named straw. How do we use that actually? It's very easy. We just one-to-one substitute it to the current recipe that we have today. So instead of using trees and wood, we use a combination of recycled content and straw. And with that, we reach similar performance as we have today. So at ABInbev, our performance, let's say, portfolio is quite stringent. The packaging has to actually suffer and then go through multiple hurdles through the supply chain from its creation to the fact that until the time it gets to our consumer. So it needs to hold on like as you see today. So the way that it goes out of our brewery, it should be the way that it gets to our consumer. And one of the beautiful part about this packaging is it brings the circular message to our consumer because it's quite visual. It's not about talking about sustainability, but it's also about showing what sustainability can look like. So it's quite consumer-centric. We're trying to address also some of the consumer needs through that. Obviously, this is not something that we can do by ourselves. So we have several partners who helped us get to where we are today, naming, for example, Sustainable Fiber Technology, who has developed the pulping process, the Phoenix pulping process, as well as our converting partner, namely Accor Carton, Long Falls Paper Mill, Liberty Paper Mill, and of course, Lana Paper as well. So we couldn't do this without them. This packaging is not also about just putting something different to the recipe, but it's also about the reinvention on how we develop packaging for the future. So it's not just about putting something else and get it done. It's about putting something else and understanding how it will affect the paper stream in 5, 10, 30 years. And on top of that, by using the word of substitution and elimination, we also want to make sure that we reduce our environmental footprint by basically cutting off as much as possible carbon emissions. To give you an idea, packaging overall represents about 38% of our global emissions per year. So anything we can do in that area is going to be a huge win. And by basically using alternative fiber in carton, we are actually able to use less water, we are able to use less chemicals, and of course fewer trees, meaning that we have more trees producing oxygen for us to continue. So beyond the folding carton packaging that I just talked about, there's also several opportunities to apply alternative fiber, namely straw, into our other paper packaging stream, like the alternative rings that we are very often now using for our cans, but as well as label that we put onto the bottle, where we can also bring visibility on the sustainability credentials. So sustainability is not now just an abstract concept, but it can also be visualized and people can really see it to understand it. So in a way, what we're trying to do is to disrupt a little bit the way that we think about the development of paper packaging by bringing something new, something more sustainable, more circular as well, and that's good for the planet. So it's not just disrupting the beverage industry, we wanted to make sure that we also disrupt the paper packaging or the paper industry as a whole, as we know that there are multiple applications that could benefit from this type of developments. So the development of this type of packaging actually are linking very well with our 2025 sustainability goals, which aim to have 100% of our packaging either in a returnable format or made out of recycled content, but as well contributing to the reduction of 25% of our carbon emissions.
Thanks, Farida. And thanks to our GPO partner, Shane Henderson, for helping us with the goals of this project and bringing these exciting new packages to the marketplace.